I'm Leisl, and I've been asked to bring a woman's perspective to some of the Proverbs as Reedy is studying them at the moment. Not something I'm used to doing, but here goes. For my first one, I'd like to talk about Proverbs 31:10. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. So here's my perspective. This particular proverb captures my imagination because, well, let's be honest, who doesn't want to believe that they are more valuable than rubies? But also because ever since I've been a little girl, I have loved rocks. I used to collect rocks and put them in my pockets and carry them around. I had rock collections. I was able to identify them and name each specimen. But my favourites were always the pretty sparkly rocks. Now I'm a grown-up, I have learnt to appreciate the value of the sparkly rocks, and I know you'll all agree we all love a bit of sparkly bling on our fingers or around our neck. So when David and I recently did a Queensland road trip, I couldn't help but to schedule in a stay in central Queensland gemfields in a small town called Rubyvale. Logically, you would think that Rubyvale is where rubies were found. However, it is actually where they mined sapphires. The name came about when somebody in the late 1800s found a large red gemstone they assumed was a ruby. So the school was named Rubyvale. But in those days, they had to send the stone away to England to be tested, only to be told months later the stone was actually a red sapphire. By the time the whole town had taken ownership of the name and the name of Rubyvale, and there was already a town of sapphire just up the road, so it stuck. While we were there, of course, I had to try my hand at fossicking. We didn't have the time for a proper licence and to go out on a proper dig, so instead I bought a big bag of rubble and went through the process of washing, sifting and sorting each little pebble contained in that sack of rock and rubble. I was there for hours. I was in my element, holding up each little stone against the sun to see if light would shine through it, and if it did, winner, sapphire, or if not, it was just a rock, and you threw it away. I was amazed to find quite a few teeny tiny sapphires, but sadly, nothing of any true value. Even though I was fossicking for sapphires, not rubies, the fossicking process for both gems is very similar. So it didn't take me very long to realise just how rare and how much time and work would be required for anything to be found of value. And you think that rubies are even more rare and more valuable than sapphires. No wonder they are so valuable. A woman is worth far more than rubies. Quite a statement of honour. The verse starts with a wife of noble character, or another version, which I prefer because it incorporates unmarried women, says a virtuous and capable woman who can find is worth far more than rubies. What makes a woman of noble character or virtuous and capable? In the verses following, there is an extensive list of qualities, from bringing her husband good, not harm, providing food, buying and managing land, hardworking, helping the poor and needy, sewing and selling goods. She is strong and has dignity. She speaks with wisdom. She manages a household and earns her children and husband's respect. No wonder this sort of woman is rare. This seems like an exhausting list of qualities no woman could sustain for very long. But there is hope for all of us who aren't superwoman. Verse 30 says, charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, so that's good. We don't have to rely on our charm and beauty. Then finishes with, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. When the writer talks about fearing God, he doesn't mean frightened or terror type fear. The original word translates more to being in awe or having great reverence for God above all else. I think that's the key for this verse for we women. Whether we're a wife or you want to be a wife, or used to be a wife, or looking to be a wife one day, if she fears or is in awe and has reverence for God, then she can claim, I am worth far more than rubies, because she is a rare, valuable and desired treasure. Thanks for listening. Keep on sparkling and have a fabulous week.